Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hey, welcome back to Mood Scale Adventure. Hey, today we're gonna do a little bit of a bushing replacement. So this is gonna be replacing the bushings on the Stiletto lower control arm swap deal that we did not too long ago. Well, it's been about a year. Uh, but those bushings, we're gonna go ahead and replace those. So anybody that originally bought in on the prototypes, the early models, sending out new bushings. So the new bushings, they are Kevlar lined. So these new bushings should last longer than the original ones. But regardless of what bushings you have in yours, this is something that you're going to have to do from time to time. You're looking at 12 to 15,000 miles is probably what you're going to be expected to run these bushings on before you need to replace them. But that's what we're going to do today. So we got our parts, and we got the old warthog here up on ramps. So, one thing I want to mention before we get going on this, the ramps, super important. Okay, you want to get the Cherokee up, right? So in this replacement of the bushings, we're not going to jack it up. Okay, we want the tires, we want the suspension to be settled down, right? We don't want to pick it up and have that suspension drooping because we're not messing with the knuckle bolt. All we're going to do is remove that cam bolt. Super easy, right? Should be a lot easier than dealing with the knuckle bolt. So if you got some ramps, you're going to want to put them up on it. You can do it without the ramps, but this provides you with a heck of a lot more room to work. So you'll notice we're up high. All right. We're going to get with it. And we're going to start off with building the riser for this. All right. Let's hit it. All right. So the first thing that we really need in order to perform this procedure, in order to replace these bushings, is we're going to have to create a riser. Okay. And so what is the riser? What's the purpose of the riser? So a riser, basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a way to lift your control arm. Right. You're going to want to lift it up with your jack in order to release pressure off of the cam bolt. Okay, then once you get that cam bolt out, you're going to want to be able to lower that control arm to expose the bushing so that you can get in there and change those out. So there's, there's plenty of different ways you could go about this. Actually, if you have a nice floor jack, that's not what I'm going to use in this video, but you could go over to Gleaming Alloys YouTube channel, and there's a good video on this same thing that I'm about to do here. And he shows you how he built his riser for that particular jack. Every jack's going to be a little bit different, right? So you gotta be a little creative in that if you're not going to use like his method with the floor jack or what I'm about to attempt here. So the jack I decided to use is this scissor jack. So this is the jack that came with the Trailhawk, and I decided to go ahead and go with this sucker. Just thinking about the different jacks I have and what you all probably have. This one we all have, right? Because it came with our Cherokee. So what I've been doing is trying to come up with an idea of how to create a riser for this. That way, that would help more of you out there versus if I used I don't know, some random jack that I have around here, right? So we're gonna attempt to create a riser using this. So I got an idea of how I'm gonna try to do that, and we're gonna start out with this 2x6 here. So my thoughts are, we'll take this 2x6, and we're basically gonna make it go in there. All right. So I want to cut this sucker. Basically, I want to notch it out here so that I can slide it right in between there. All right. Let's see what we can do with this. 2.5. Now we need a kind of a rounded off, a little place for the stiletto to nestle into. So I'm doing this a little weird. I'm going to use a router because I don't have any drill bits that are really of size to really like drill out that hole. So all I did was I just set this sucker up in the next to the stiletto, marked it a couple times there, and that's just kind of my rough guideline. So I'm gonna try to kind of swoop it down and make a little something with this. So. Okay, last thing I'm going to do for this riser is we need a way to strap it, to put a strap over the control arm, right? So something that'll keep this from just, the control arm from just sliding up this, right? And it doesn't, shouldn't need a ton of pressure. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to put in some screws, right? So I just have some deck screws here. These are just 2.5-inch deck screws. They may not be enough. They may bend or whatnot. But what I'm going to do is put one on each end at the bottom. And then what my thoughts are is I'm going to take a ratchet strap, hook it to this, go over the top, hook it to the other side, and then just get it tensioned there. All right, so that's what it's looking like. Okay, I know this is a little rednecky, but that's what I do, right? All right, we use what we have. Okay, so that's that's it. That's our riser. Now we can get into the actual changing of the bushing, which is what we're all here for, right? All right, so first step that we're gonna do is we need to mark our cam nut, right? We need to mark this in order to maintain our alignment. So whenever we put everything back, we'll be able to line everything back up. So I'm just using, it's actually a dry erase pen. If you've got like a paint pen, that's probably your best option, but this is what I have. So really just want to ensure we've got a good line that we can see, so that when we go to put it back on, we can maintain that alignment. We're going to start with a ratchet strap, right? Need to feed it up through the stiletto. We don't want too much pressure on this. So you can see I just looped it through the control arm itself, come across, and looped it on the other side. All right, side to side. Okay. All right, now we're gonna try to connect our riser here. Bright green ratchet strap, and we're gonna try 2x6 is a little tight, but I think that'll work. So this is what we're looking at. So took that screw, hooked in, fed it over the top, and then it's going to come back down on the other side. All right, so now we got all that set up. All right, we're going to go ahead and loosen up, take out the cam bolt. These cam nuts can really get on there. You really need to use some anti-seize on these whenever you put them back in. We have to try something different there. All right, so slightly new plan. Okay, so as you saw, that ratchet strap was, my whole riser was kind of sliding up. So what I decided to do is try adding another strap. So this strap is going to hold kind of the top of the riser. It's not tight at all. It's just to give it just a little bit of hold there. So let me show you what I set up here. All right. So took another strap. I attached it to my ramps, running up to the top there. and then back down and attached to the ramps again. So yeah, I got a lot of straps going on. You know, working through this as we go along. I'll have to think about it and see if I can think of a better way. I mean, if this works, it's not really terrible. I mean, 3 ratchet straps should work, right? Right? Yeah. All right, let's see if this works. All right. Now, raise this jack a little. There we go. So I just hadn't raised it up high enough. That's the problem. So something to play with. How high you pull, you know, how high you're going up with it. Oh, looks good. So now we're gonna lower it down. That should give us access to those bushings. Woo. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, you know, it definitely is something where getting the process down, this should go pretty quick. So now we're going to pull out these old bushings and replace them with new ones. All right. So get these out. The center, yep, just push it right out. All right. Then, oh yeah, there's your bushing. I'm going to clean that up. We'll take a look at it. These actually, the first one, they seem to be in pretty good shape. But, I mean, they're greasy, but that's part of it. I make sure I grease these about every 3,000 miles, if not a little bit more often. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong with these. So, all right, while we're down here on the ground, I've got the new bushings and the old bushings. And so these new bushings from Gleaming Alloy, they're supposed to be Kevlar lined bushings. Anyways, they're supposed to last longer. I know these original ones, there were a few with the prototypes, especially that had some issues with these cracking and whatnot. I mean, no matter what, these bushings aren't made to last forever. You know, you're looking at, I think with these, about 15,000 miles is what you're, you know, shooting for. They should get at least that. And a lot of that does depend on how hard you're running this, how hard you're running your Cherokee. So if you're off-roading, you know, rock crawling hardcore in the mud and everything every weekend, then you're probably not going to get as long a life out of the bushings. But like I say, this is my old one. That sucker is doing just fine. Obviously, you might have noticed from the lack of off-roading videos, I haven't exactly been hitting it hard lately, so that might be part of it. I've got about 12,000 miles on these, so at this point, you would expect to see some wear. Not really seeing it. Well, maybe just a little bit in the. No, that's just grease. But not really seeing the wear on these. So, I'm expecting good things. Now all we got to do is we need to grease these up and shove them in. All right? So, take a little grease. Grease these up good. I mean, grease is a big part of longevity of these. If you're not keeping grease on them regularly, they're not going to get the life that you should get out of them. We'll go ahead and coat some grease up in here. Really be good and lubed. Now we're just going to shove the bushings on up in there. Yeah. Backside. Put that sucker back in. There it is. So that's one side. I still have one more side to do. I'm not gonna video all that because you already saw how to do it. So just gonna apply the same method to the other side, to the driver's side, and then give you kind of some final how and when, if there's any thoughts I have on it, right? All right, so wrapped up the second side. I'll tell you, after doing the second side, I definitely could get this done in less than an hour. I would say 45 minutes. It just depends on how long it take me to gather up my stuff. My riser and things like that. But once risers made, man, it really is quick. So yep, let's see. I've got everything taken off there. My riser's still attached, but yeah. So it really is a fairly easy job, honestly. Something I was kind of dreading a little bit because I wasn't sure uh, exactly how difficult it'd be, but I'm not dreading now. That was super simple. I was going to show you here. So I knew I could tell from the back end that one of these was a little bit uh, destroyed. Well, coming apart, I guess would be a better word for it. But yeah, here's one of the bushings, and as you can see, I mean, it's it's starting to fall apart. So that one definitely needed replaced. The rest of them, the other three, were perfectly fine. But that goes to show, this is a piece of maintenance that you're going to have to be ready to do and be willing to do uh, this process. It's not that big a deal, honestly. It really isn't. But if you get the stilettos, be aware of the fact that these bushings they are an item that you're going to have to think about replacing. One thing that I did hear from D from Gleaming Alloy was that he's transitioned everything over to those new bushings that are Kevlar lined. So hopefully those will last even longer. But also the ends. Oh, I should show you that. So this portion right here. I know we're kind of upside down. Um, he's also gone to a heavy duty version of that. It's going to be a thicker, kind of a bigger uh, joint there, and every one of them is going to come out that style from here on. So with those, all of the prototypes were like mine. That's a prototype one, and then he kind of went ahead and went with the offering the HD version, and now has decided to transition, and all of them will be the HD version. All in all, very easy. I was very happy with the riser setup. Very happy with that. Like that worked out perfect. So if you've got the scissor jack, which you should have, this right here worked great. Uh, so what you need in order to do that, I got a 2x6. You can probably do a 2x4, but 2x6. A couple just deck screws is all I have. They're 2.5-inch deck screws. Um, then 3 ratchet straps, and you're good to make the riser and to set it up. Be ready to go. And then you just tools wise, you're looking at a 17 millimeter wrench, a crescent wrench, fairly large size, and a pair of vice grips is good in order to kind of uh, get the cam bolt out. So I think very successful. All right, so I hope this helped you out, and I'll leave you with the install of the second side. You can see how much smoother that went. All right, see you.